This 8-team competition, this 8 nations, which remember is a one-off competition, not a yearly thing, set down for late this year, November. Seems to be getting a bit of a shake-up with reports out that Japan's pulled out. They're not going to be taking part, and in all likelihood, they're going to be replaced by Georgia. Now, if you didn't follow this news when it first came out, it was basically set up to replace the end-of-year test that we would normally see with the likes of New Zealand and South Africa and Australia and whatnot all heading to play the European teams. So they set up this 8 nations competition. Again, definitely just a one-off competition, not a recurring fixture, which was going to include the regular 6 nations teams plus Fiji and Japan. However, with Japan having some pretty strict border regulations, their team has not been able to assemble as they would have liked. The main point being, from what I have read, that non-Japanese passport holders are not allowed into Japan at the moment. I know every country's got their own border regulations, and they all come under some kind of criticism. Here in New Zealand, it's only citizens and permanent residents that are allowed back, whereas Japan goes one step further and doesn't even allow permanent residents to come back. If you're on a foreign passport, you can't get in. That's I think I got part of that from Rich Freeman on Twitter. But that means people like Jamie Joseph, who's the coach, and Tony Brown, and I'm assuming some of the players who are probably either citizens or permanent residents. I'm not sure. But either way, I know definitely the coaching staff don't have Japanese passports. So they can't get into Japan. They can't prepare the team. So it seems like the Japanese Rugby Football Union has decided to call it quits on this tournament, and they will make some kind of other plans. It may be that they tried to get permission from the government to let people in. I know the New Zealand government has tried to do that in terms of that North and South match, which is due to get underway next week here in New Zealand. We couldn't even get guys who are based in Auckland, which is under a stricter lockdown here, out to other areas of New Zealand. The government said no. So, yeah, governments are doing the health and safety thing first. Unfortunately for us, rugby has to come second, but, you know, who's going to argue against health and safety? So, yeah, Georgia seems to be the one getting lined up, which is pretty good news, especially given they are in a pool with Italy. Everyone, well, not everyone, a lot of people want Georgia into the 6 nations, and then want Italy dropped, even though Italy's got a pretty good record over Georgia, but everyone seems to love the Georgians. I like watching the Georgians. They're always a bit of a darling team, underdog team, so to get them into a competition with the other 6 nations countries, at least a chance to play Italy, a chance to play Scotland, a chance to play France, put their hands up again, that's just a good news story. And it's a good chance for Italy to potentially put them to the sword and tell everyone to be quiet and, you know, stop asking for them to get relegation in the 6 nations. But yeah, so it's an unfortunate one because, yeah, Japan was another country, especially during the World Cup, which, was pretty well regarded as a host and, played attractive rugby. Growing the game over there, it would have been nice to see them play some, top-tier nations. But if it's not to be, it's not to be. And Georgia is by no means a disappointing replacement. It's a very, very happy one for me to see the Georgians added to the lineup. So, yeah, that seems to be how it's going to go down. I guess on a side bit of news, Michael Hooper, the Aussie captain, has signed to go and play for 6 months in Japan as well, which is also helping out the Aussie Union because I think he took a big pay cut and part of that deal was he could go spend some time in Japan. So there you go. It's not all doom and gloom if you're a Japanese rugby fan. You're getting one of the world's best flankers to come and join one of your teams for 6 months, which is a bit of good news. But yeah, it's unfortunate the Brave Blossoms won't be in this 8 nations competition, but Georgia is a pretty good replacement. And we'll have to watch the situation with interest to see what happens. What's going to happen with the Rugby Championship here is still under question. So with the whole pandemic, who knows? They can make all these plans, but then things can just really go haywire if it doesn't... the virus doesn't do what it's told, does it? So there you go. But yeah, you guys let me know what your thoughts are. Are you pretty happy Georgia's going to be included? Or are you more disappointed that you're losing Japan? It is just a thing with their government and their strict border regulations, but that just is what it is. So it seems like the Japanese Rugby Football Union didn't have a whole lot of choice. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Take care, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.